Today is the Children's Day. Incidentally, today is also the World Diabetes Day. These 2 days have come together on the same 14th of November, and that is kind of paradoxical because just recently, a week back, the Diabetes India 2021 expert panel has come up with a recommendation that in India, the diabetes screening should be done as early as 25 years of age, as early as when a person is in their younger age is when the diabetes and its complications start arising in India, thanks to our ethnicity, the genes, and also blame our lifestyle and everything. In this small session, I'm going to talk about diet interventions, exercise interventions, and also in terms of rest and sleep, everything to manage and even reverse diabetes so that you can actually reduce the medicine dosages in a structured, scientific manner. Of course, this recommendation for reducing the medicine has to come from your endocrinologist or your diabetes specialist, depending upon your HbA1c numbers. Now, what exactly is diabetes? Diabetes is a disease wherein our body's blood sugar level stays elevated. When we eat carbohydrate is released into the bloodstream as glucose. And there is a hormone called insulin which helps in bringing that glucose from the blood to its near normal levels, which is around 110 levels. If it stays elevated, that is called diabetes. Now, it can stay elevated for two reasons. One reason is that the hormone itself is not there in enough quantity. So the hormone which is responsible to reduce blood sugar levels is not there in enough quantity. So the blood sugar level stays elevated. That is type 1 diabetes. Usually happens at a much younger age, usually among children, happens because of autoimmune disorders. Second one, which is more common, which is type 2 diabetes, is because of the lifestyle aspect. Now, what is type 2 diabetes? Look at it this way. You want to open a door and you have the key with you, but the lock of that door is a little rusty. It will take a little while and a lot of time for you to open that door. Similarly, you have the key. The key here is insulin. You have the insulin in your body in enough quantities perhaps, but the insulin is not able to open up the cells so that the cells can uptake glucose. Or rather, the insulin sensitivity of our body is coming down, or insulin resistance of our body is going high. This is type 2 diabetes. You have enough amount of insulin, but the body is unable to respond to insulin. And why does this happen? Blame the poor lifestyle. So how do you reverse this? Three things, as I earlier mentioned: diet, exercise, and sleep and rest. Now let me break each one of it in a very sensible, sustainable point of view. I'm not going to ask you to have God-forsaken food and not enjoy life when I talk about a diet. Diet means eating a balanced diet, meaning go ahead and have right amount of carbohydrates, right amount of protein, right amount of fat, include a lot of green leafy vegetables, etc. Do not get into any extreme diet, especially I'm not a fan of keto or these kind of fancy diets. It is important to have right amount of protein and fiber so that the glycemic load of the food that we are eating comes down. Meaning to say, it takes a lot more time for our body to break down carbohydrates and release glucose into the blood. So our body gets a lot more time to absorb these glucose into the body. So the insulin resistance will be taken care of to a reasonable extent. Now, does it mean that managing diabetes is done by reduce carbs and eat a lot of protein and fiber? No. That's where the significance of medical aspects of health and wellness also comes into picture. For example, a high blood sugar levels at a sustained period can sometimes impact kidney. It's known as diabetic nephropathy. And if kidney is impacted, you cannot increase protein beyond a certain limit. So in cases of diabetic nephropathy, one needs to look for serum creatine levels, urine albumin levels, etc. and then decide how much protein should be included. And that is why I am not a fan of high protein, keto diet and so on and so forth. And there is no one size fits all when it comes to both diet and exercises. Decide and define how much protein a person should be having, how much fiber a person should be having, depending upon other medical conditions around it, if the person is also looking to become healthy and reverse medications. And for this, you need an expert to tell you. So please go ahead and reach out to people who understand these aspects. Diabetes educators and clinical nutrition experts and certified experts are the people that you should reach out to when it comes to managing diabetes from this perspective, especially if the person has been diabetic for at least 5 years and more, or if the HbA1c is probably more than 8% or if the person is above 40 years of age, for example, because the complications and associated risk are much higher. You cannot go on a increased protein, reduced carbs kind of a method. Coming to exercises, I am a fan of weight training, lifting weights. We men, women, both of us are meant to lift weights. We are supposed to be using our muscles. And when we use our muscles have these stores of energy called glycogen stores. And glycogen is nothing but a complex molecule of glucose. Multiple glucose molecules form up a glycogen, to put it very simply. When the muscles are better capable, the amount of glycogen stores or amount of glucose it can hold becomes higher, meaning to say our muscles will be able to guzzle up a lot of glucose from the blood, which essentially means that we're improving our insulin sensitivity. And that's where the importance of weight training comes in when it comes to managing insulin resistance of the body. And this is true not just for diabetes, even for other diseases related to insulin resistance, such as PCOS among women, for example. Cardio exercises are also important for a healthy heart and healthy lung, but it is always better to mix up different kinds of exercises. Let it be weight training, let it be cardio exercises, let it be yoga. Personally, I am a fan of weight training because it has a direct and huge impact on improving metabolic parameters. It's probably having slightly higher edge than the other two exercises that I just mentioned. Now, does it mean that you overdo exercises? Absolutely not. We have had this recent incidents of multiple deaths among seemingly fit people, professionals and celebrities succumbing to various cardiovascular events because of probably overdoing these exercises. Moderation is the key. Remember, even the world's most healthiest food, if you overeat, it is unhealthy, the cholesterol levels will increase. Similarly, whatever the exercises are, if you do it more than what your body can bear it is going to create more problems and chronic inflammation in the body. The key is also to do these exercises depending upon physical conditions. For example, if a person is having a knee pain or arthritis, rheumatoid or osteoarthritis, or even an L4, L5 or an IVDP, intervertebral disc prolapse, it's not a great thing for that person to go and run or do a marathon, right? Similarly, if a person has a hernia, say an inguinal hernia, or has piles, it's probably not a great idea to go to gym and lift heavy weights. Same way, even exercises needs to be managed and done depending upon the physical conditions of the body. That's it. Weight training has its impact and it can be suited for almost every person with minor modifications, being cognizant of the associated physical ailments and medical conditions. Stress management is extremely important. Right amount of sleep is also important to manage blood glucose levels. If you do not sleep properly or at night, then there is a very high chance the blood sugar levels would stay elevated. Medications, multiple series and different types, right from metformin, glycomed to Janumed to sitagliptin. Different types of medications are there. For an endocrinologist or for your doctor to prescribe any of these medications, there must be a clear reason why they have chosen one of these drugs. Why person 1 has one drug and person 2 has another drug, there will be a clear reason as to why they would have thought through that medications. A person is not supposed to reduce and stop medication by themselves without getting a go-ahead from the endocrinologist or your diabetes specialist. It is possible to improve the insulin sensitivity and even reduce the medication dosages by making appropriate scientific structured changes in both diet and exercises. However, the decision of reducing the medicine should and has to come from your endocrinologist only. These medications are lifesavers, and let's not get into a tirade of anti-pharma that probably does more harm than good. Cost of diabetes or economic burden of diabetes. According to various recent surveys and reports, the average cost of managing diabetes just by medicines is somewhere between 15,000 to 50,000. Obviously, as the disease progresses, the amount cost also increases. But annually, every year, somewhere around 15,000 to 50,000 per year is the cost an average Indian has to spend to manage diabetes through medicines and other checks and everything. I would say personally that making lifestyle changes is probably not even 1/10th as expensive as that, and you also get the added advantages of being healthy and even looking good sometimes. So it is important to manage lifestyle change. And these lifestyle changes is not something such as You do it for a month or 2 months or 3 months. And that's where the importance of sustainable lifestyle changes becomes important. Let me give you an example. Managing diabetes is not done by switching from white rice to brown rice. That is not the definition of the lifestyle change. For example, two options. Option one, a white rice with a lot of green leafy vegetables and protein sources such as lentils or some meat or non-vegetarian sources, perhaps is more healthier than brown rice with some curd and pickle. It is the combined protein and fiber intake which really matters. Including fiber and protein brings down the glycemic index, or in other words, allows your body to take more time to break down carbohydrates and release glucose into the blood, thereby preventing a sudden increase in the blood glucose levels. So look at becoming healthy from a sustainable point of view. And this sustainability aspect and sensible and structured aspect of looking at healthy eating or exercising has to come from the parent themselves, because our children at the end of the day will look up to their parents, and that's where they imbibe the qualities or whatever things that they pick up in their day-to-day lifestyle. If the kids are eating a lot of junk, there's a very high chance that we ourselves are stocking up these junk food in our kitchen cabinets. So for a greater and better living and health for our children, it is imperative for us as adults to take care of our health. In the meanwhile, there will be a rub-off effect of improved health even among our kids. I hope this information was helpful. My name is Rajiv Ambat, the CEO and the Chief Health Officer at Nuvo Vivo Center for Obesity, Lifestyle Disorders and Research. We are an online health and fitness company based in Cochin, but we cater to our clients across the globe and help them manage and reverse lifestyle disorders such as diabetes, dyslipidemia, which is high cholesterol, fatty liver, uric acid, hypertension, PCOS, etc., to structured, scientific, and sustainable and flexible lifestyle changes. Thank you. Have a very great day and stay healthy, stay safe, and stay happy.